Welcome back to Globewise Entertainment, where we uncover the untold stories behind the movies that changed cinema forever. Today's video takes us back to one of the most revolutionary years in film history, 1967. A year when Hollywood broke its own rules, challenged audiences, and gave birth to a completely new era of filmmaking. These weren't just movies. They were cinematic earthquakes that transformed storytelling, acting, violence, romance, and social commentary forever. From shocking crime dramas to fearless psychological masterpieces, these 10 films pushed boundaries nobody dared touch before. And trust me, some of these movies still feel more daring today than modern Hollywood films. But before we begin, subscribe to Globewise Entertainment and join our community of true cinema lovers who appreciate the films that shaped history. Now tell us in the comments, which 1967 movie do you think changed Hollywood the most? In 1967, Hollywood gave audiences a rebel unlike anything they had seen before. Cool Hand Luke wasn't just a prison movie. It became a symbol of freedom, resistance, and the fight against a system designed to break the human spirit. The story follows Luke Jackson, played brilliantly by Paul Newman, a laid-back war veteran sentenced to a brutal southern prison camp for a petty crime. But what makes Luke unforgettable isn't physical strength. It's his refusal to surrender mentally. No matter how harsh the punishment becomes, no matter how many times the guards try humiliating him, Luke keeps smiling, challenging authority with quiet rebellion. His famous attitude slowly transforms him into a legend among the prisoners. Director Stuart Rosenberg filled the film with emotional tension, dark humor, and powerful symbolism about individuality and control. Paul Newman's performance became iconic because Luke represented something bigger than one man. He represented the human desire to stay free even inside a cage. Today, Cool Hand Luke remains one of cinema's greatest anti-authority masterpieces ever created. In 1967, one Hollywood film walked directly into America's most uncomfortable conversation and refused to back away. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner begins with what seems like a simple family introduction. A young white woman returns home to proudly introduce her fiancé to her parents. But there's one detail that changes everything. The man she plans to marry is black. Today, that might not sound shocking, but in 1967 interracial marriage was still illegal in several American states, making the film incredibly controversial for its time. Sidney Poitier delivers a calm, intelligent, and deeply powerful performance as Dr. John Prentice, a man forced to quietly face judgment from both society and the very family he hopes will accept him. Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn add emotional weight as parents struggling between love for their daughter and the prejudices they were raised with. The film didn't rely on explosions or action. Its tension came from silence, conversation, and emotional honesty. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner became a groundbreaking Hollywood moment that challenged audiences to rethink love, race, and acceptance itself. Sometimes the scariest thrillers don't rely on monsters or supernatural forces. Sometimes fear comes from something far more real. In Wait Until Dark, Audrey Hepburn delivers one of the most intense performances of her career as Susie Hendricks, a blind woman unknowingly trapped inside a deadly criminal conspiracy. After a mysterious doll filled with hidden drugs enters her apartment, ruthless criminals begin hunting for it, believing Susie knows more than she actually does. Alone inside her dark New York apartment, she quickly realizes the men surrounding her are manipulative, violent, and willing to kill for what they want. But what makes the film unforgettable is how it transforms blindness into both vulnerability and strength. Director Terrence Young builds unbearable tension through silence, shadows, and psychological fear instead of cheap jump scares. The movie's legendary climax became one of the most nerve-wracking endings audiences had ever experienced at the time. Though released alongside larger Hollywood productions, Wait Until Dark proved intelligent suspense could be more terrifying than massive action spectacle. Today, it remains one of cinema's greatest psychological thrillers ever made. What happens when a movie perfectly captures the confusion of an entire generation? In 1967, The Graduate did exactly that and became one of the most influential films Hollywood had ever seen. The story follows Benjamin Braddock, played by Dustin Hoffman, a recent college graduate lost in uncertainty, pressure, and emotional emptiness after returning home. While adults around him push him toward success and stability, Benjamin drifts into a secret affair with the older and manipulative Mrs. Robinson. But things become even more complicated when he unexpectedly falls in love with her daughter Elaine. On the surface, it sounds like a romantic drama, but underneath, the film quietly attacks the emptiness of suburban life, generational disconnect, and the fear of growing up. Director Mike Nichols used innovative camera work, awkward silence, and the unforgettable Simon and Garfunkel soundtrack to create a style that felt fresh and deeply personal. The Graduate didn't just entertain audiences. It spoke directly to a restless generation searching for meaning in a rapidly changing America. In 1967, Hollywood audiences thought they were walking into another classic gangster movie. What they got instead was a cinematic revolution that shattered every filmmaking rule of its time. Bonnie and Clyde tells the explosive, true-inspired story of Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow, two young outlaws who robbed banks across America during the Great Depression while becoming national celebrities in the process. But this wasn't the typical crime story audiences expected. Director Arthur Penn mixed romance, violence, dark comedy, and brutal realism in a way Hollywood had never truly seen before. Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway brought dangerous charm to the screen, making criminals feel strangely human and emotionally tragic. Then came the shocking violence. The film's final ambush sequence changed Hollywood forever with its slow-motion brutality and emotional intensity. Critics were divided at first, but younger audiences embraced it instantly. Today, Bonnie and Clyde is considered one of the films that destroyed old Hollywood and gave birth to the bold modern cinema era that followed. Before modern antihero action movies existed, The Dirty Dozen changed war cinema forever with a story so brutal and rebellious that audiences had never seen anything like it before. Set during World War II, the film follows a group of violent military prisoners, murderers, thieves, and criminals who are offered one final chance at freedom. Their mission is almost suicidal: infiltrate a heavily guarded Nazi fortress and eliminate high-ranking German officers before a major attack begins. Leading them is a tough American commander played by Lee Marvin, who quickly realizes these men are dangerous not only to the enemy, but to each other. What made The Dirty Dozen revolutionary was its refusal to portray soldiers as clean-cut heroes. These characters were broken, angry, unpredictable, and morally complicated. The film mixed explosive action with dark humor and psychological tension in ways Hollywood rarely attempted during that era. Critics were divided by its violence and cynical tone, but audiences loved it instantly. Today, The Dirty Dozen is considered one of the most influential war films ever made and the blueprint for countless modern action teams that followed. By 1967, James Bond had already become a global phenomenon, but You Only Live Twice pushed the franchise into a completely new level of cinematic spectacle. This time, Sean Connery's Bond travels to Japan after mysterious spacecraft disappearings threatened to trigger a deadly war between world superpowers. But behind the chaos hides Bond's most dangerous enemy yet, Ernst Stavro Blofeld, the mastermind leader of the sinister organization Spectre. As Bond dives deeper into the mission, he uncovers one of the most iconic villain lairs in movie history, a massive hidden volcano base filled with rockets, ninjas, and futuristic technology. What made the film groundbreaking wasn't just the action. It was the scale. Massive sets, global locations, stylish gadgets, and larger-than-life storytelling transformed the Bond franchise into pure cinematic event entertainment. Audiences were stunned by its ambition and visual creativity. Even today, many classic spy movie formulas still borrow ideas introduced here. You Only Live Twice proved blockbuster filmmaking could be bigger, bolder, and more imaginative than anyone thought possible in the 1960s. In 1967, while Hollywood was rapidly changing with darker and more modern films, Camelot arrived as one of the last grand classical epics of old Hollywood cinema. Based on the legendary King Arthur story, the film follows Arthur's dream of building a kingdom based on peace, justice, and honor. But beneath the beauty of castles, romance, and music lies a tragic emotional conflict that slowly destroys everything he built. Richard Harris brings emotional vulnerability to King Arthur, while Vanessa Redgrave shines as Queen Guinevere, torn between loyalty to her husband and forbidden love for the knight Lancelot. The film combines massive medieval production design, breathtaking costumes, and sweeping musical performances to create a fantasy world filled with elegance and heartbreak. Yet what makes Camelot unforgettable is its deeper meaning. It reflects the loss of innocence and the collapse of idealism during a turbulent era in American history. Though critics were divided at release, the film later gained appreciation for its emotional depth, ambition, and hauntingly beautiful atmosphere that feels timeless even today. In 1967, international cinema shocked audiences with a film so daring, mysterious, and psychologically complex that it instantly became one of the most talked-about movies of its era. Belle de Jour follows Séverine, a beautiful young Parisian housewife played by Catherine Deneuve, who appears to live a calm and elegant life with her successful husband. But beneath her quiet exterior hides a world of secret desires and emotional emptiness she cannot explain even to herself. Out of curiosity and inner frustration, she begins secretly working at a luxury brothel during the afternoons while continuing her normal married life at night. What follows is not just scandal or romance, but a surreal psychological exploration of fantasy, repression, loneliness, and identity. Director Luis Buñuel blurred the line between dreams and reality so carefully that audiences were constantly questioning what was truly happening. The film challenged traditional morality and pushed artistic boundaries in ways Hollywood rarely dared attempt at the time. Today, Belle de Jour is considered a masterpiece of psychological cinema and one of the boldest films of the 1960s. In 1967, while America struggled with racial tension and social division, one film arrived that forced Hollywood to confront uncomfortable truths directly. In the Heat of the Night begins with a shocking murder investigation in a small racist Mississippi town. But everything changes when local police arrest a calm, intelligent black man at the train station, only to discover he is actually Virgil Tibbs, a highly respected homicide detective from Philadelphia. Sidney Poitier delivers a performance filled with dignity, intelligence, and controlled anger as Tibbs is forced to work alongside a deeply prejudiced white police chief played by Rod Steiger. What starts as hostility slowly evolves into reluctant respect as they investigate the crime together. But the true power of the film lies beyond the mystery itself. It openly challenged racism during one of America's most divided periods, creating moments so bold they shocked audiences at the time. Today, In the Heat of the Night is remembered not only as a gripping crime thriller but as one of Hollywood's most important social breakthroughs. And that wraps up our journey through the revolutionary films of 1967, the year Hollywood changed forever. These movies didn't just entertain audiences. They challenged society, reinvented storytelling, and opened the door for a completely new era of filmmaking. From groundbreaking crime dramas to psychological masterpieces and unforgettable social commentaries, every film on this list left a permanent mark on cinema history. Now we want to hear from you. Which 1967 movie do you think had the biggest impact on Hollywood? Or is there another classic from that year you believe deserved a place on this list? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Globewise Entertainment for more hidden film history, cinematic masterpieces, and untold Hollywood stories. Until next time, keep discovering the movies that changed the world forever.